Isang mga kalikasang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Shane Quintana Tormes ng inyong Miss Philippines Fire 2020. At ito naman po ay isang panibago na namang edisyon ng aming Reigning Queens of Miss Philippines Earth Talk About What Matters. So ano nga ba ang talking about what matters? Ito ay very important thing to talk about kasi all of the things that's happening around, we need enough information. And we are talking right now because we wanted to learn. And ito po, kasama ko po ang aking mga reigning queens sa Miss Philippines Earth as we exchange ideas and opinions that hopefully give one of intindihan pa kung paano kapag sa very challenging times na ito. So later on, we will be introducing to you a very special guest to help us understand about the topic that we are about to talk to today. But first and foremost, I would like to tell to you our topic is all about the tourism status in the Philippines amidst COVID-19. And with that, I would like to introduce to you one by one my fellow eco queens. First, let's start off all the way from Melbourne, Australia, Miss Philippines Ecotourism 2020, Eliza Marie Mendoza.
Hi everyone!
We also have here all the way from... Hello, Eliza. Sorry to interrupt you with that. Okay, of course, all the way from Mandaluyong City, let's all welcome my dearest Goddess of Water, Miss Philippines Water 2020, Gianna Margarita Llanes.
Hello, good afternoon.
And of course, nag-iisang Diyosa ng kalikasan, our dearest Miss Philippines Earth 2020, all the way from Baguio City, Roxanne Allison Bayan.
Hi everybody! Kamusta?
So I'm very much excited to share this topic kasi I'm also a tourism management graduate when I was in college. So pag-uusapan natin ngayon kung ano ba ang future at ano ang nag-aantay sa tourism sector since tourism industry is one of the most affected sector ng pandemic. So bago natin simulan ang discussion, and very serious discussion na yan, I would like to ask each one of you and our netizens as well kung ano yung mga nasa bucket list nyo because all of us are constrained right now inside of our homes dahil may quarantine. Some of us meron pa rin travel restrictions. Most of us may na-cancel na travel. I'm one of those few people na medyo malungkot kasi may mga travel ako this year hindi mapupush through. But syempre, kailangan natin unahin ang ating health. So I would like also to ask my fellow queens, ano nga ba ang mga places you would wish to visit post-COVID-19? And to our netizens, please comment down below kung ano yung mga places na gusto nyo bisitahin after ng lahat ng to. Please feel free to comment it down. At kunyari, kung meron kayo mga questions, please feel free to comment it also because we are about to answer that later on. So I would like to start with Gianna. Ano ba ang iyong bucket list?
Well, just like you, Ate Shani, I am a huge traveler. I love to travel and I actually said in the beginning of this year na itong 2020 talaga ang year ko of traveling. Siyempre, hindi nangyari yun.
Yes.
Nagpapasalamat ako kasi nakapunta pa rin ako ng Ilocos Sur sa beach doon bago talaga mag-umpisa ang pandemic. I'm a huge beach person. And I think right after, let's say, everything goes back to normal, I'm immediately gonna go to Siargao. Yun yung pinag-usapan namin ng mga friends ko. Sobrang excited na namin to go surfing. So that's probably the number one place that I would head to.
Wow. I think later, parang meron tayong pareho dun sa bucket list natin, pero I'm about to share to you later na lang. So, next we have Eliza. Ano ba ang nasa bucket list mo?
Hey Ate Shane, this is for you. Yung bucket list ko kapag pwede na mag-travel ay maranasan yung mga isla ng Philippines kasi Filipina ako pero hindi ko pa I haven't visited any of our islands, of our beaches, and nakakaloka kasi those are our destination spots. That's what we're famous for and I've still never experienced it. So hopefully kapag natapos ng lahat, let's all go to the beach, let's go take photos and things. Also, sinabi mo sa akin na gusto mo dalhin ako sa a hike at Atimongan. Yes. So I'm looking forward to that and I'm holding you onto it. And I think lastly, gusto na gusto ka pumunta kahit saan as long as meron masarap ng pagkain. Ayan.
So, I'm sorry ha, pero parang natutulala ako kasi hindi ko alam kung sobrang ganda mo na talaga mag-Tagalog. Oh, cute mo mag-Tagalog. Thank you so much, Eliza, for sharing your bucket list. And dahil ngayon nagtatagalog ka na, so papracticein pa natin in the next few discussions that we'll have. So, sobrang excited din ako to bring you in Atimonan, kaya bumalik ka na dito sa Pilipinas and we are going to travel talaga. Sana, when things are better, with all of the fellow eco queens that we have. Siyempre, lastly, I would like to ask our Diyosa ng Kalikasan, can you please share to everyone, to our netizens, kung ano yung mga lugar na nasa yung bucket list?
Can I just say, sobrang natuwa ako kay Elisa. Gusto ko yung nakakalok. We're so proud of you. And yes, for my bucket list, actually same din kay Ate Gianna kasi this year was supposed to be a year of travel. Kasi ang travel buddy ko talaga is yung family ko. Mostly yung sister ko, siya yung mahilig gumala. Sakto yung timing na supposedly uuwi siya sa coronation night natin. And tuloy-tuloy na magbabakasyon na kami after. And yung bucket list din namin is Siargao. So sobrang sayang na hindi sila makauwi. Kaya hanggang vid call na lang ngayon yung sister ko. And yun yung bucket list ko. Any place in the Philippines with rich marine life talaga. Kasi in another, sobrang ironic yun. Mahilig ako mag-snorkeling, mahilig ako sa tubig, pero hindi ako marunong lumangoy. Sa swimming pool lang, yung alam kong hindi ako malulunod para hindi ako mag-panic. Ganon. Diver kasi in the past yung dad ko, siguro nakuha ko yun sa kanya, yung love for underwater creatures talaga. So, masasabi ko in another life, I would love to be a mermaid.
That's very interesting that all of us are like water babies. Tayo mga kaalyansa ni Gianna.
Oh, so, true.
I would like to share also that one of my there are just two places that's very special in my mind right now. I would love to go to Siargao, same with Gianna and Roxy, dahil sobrang ganda talaga ng dagat nila and I would love to learn how to surf. Unfortunately, very ironic nga, because I don't know how to swim, but I love going sa mga beach. So, ako po ay isa lamang sa populasyon ng mga Pilipino na mahilig lamang po mag-picture na nasa may sand, pero hindi po kami lumalapit doon po sa may alon kasi nakakatakot malunod. So ako lang ay mahilig mag-picture lang, but you know, I just really love going sa beach because of the sound of the waves. Lalo na pag sobrang full ka na talaga sa fears and worries and stress mo sa metro, all you just really wanted to see is greens at makita mo lang yung alon ng dagat, you're already okay. And part of that, I wanted to go to El Nido, Palawan. Sobrang gusto kong pumunta sa very isolated. So, minsan kasi meron ding part na sa sobrang pagiging social mo, gusto mo din magkaroon ng time for yourself. Only yourself and nature. Kasi I really believe that nature also heals some part of yourself that you felt wounded. Malalim yun. So guys, we already shared to you some of the places we would love to visit post-COVID-19. So sana, huwag din kayo mahiya, i-share nyo din yan, i-comment nyo din yan mamaya. Hopefully that we could just imagine at mag-enjoy lang din muna tayo na mag-imagine ng mga places na gusto natin bisitahin. Kasi yun yung importante ngayon eh. We see the light and the positivity sa mga panahon ngayon kasi yun ata yung kulang na kulang tayo eh. So, to help us more understand kung ano nga ba ang future ng tourism industry at para malaman din natin kung hanggang kailan, hanggang saan at kung saan tayo pwedeng pumunta, lalo na meron mga travel restrictions, pero for sure, meron tayo mabibisita. I would like to introduce to you our speaker this afternoon. This person is very dear to my heart. Mako-consider ko siyang mentor ko in understanding what is everything na tumatakbo sa tourism industry since that's one of my environmental advocacy, which is sustainable ecotourism. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce to you the Information Officer 2 and the Designated Tourism Officer of Local Government Unit of Atimonan, Mr. Nesler Luis Almagro.
Ayan, hello guys. Good afternoon sa ating mga queens. Kay Roxy, kay Gianna, kay Eliza, and of course kay Shane. At sa mga viewers natin online. So, yun. Nakaka-exact.
Magandang hapon. Ang tawag ko actually kay Nesler ay Kaz, pero since speaker natin siya, I would love to call him Sir Nesler. So, Sir Nesler, siya po ay aking kababayan sa Atimonan. Siya po, hindi dahil sa officer siya sa Atimonan na, but I would love to share to you na isa talaga siya sa, I think, magiging inspiration nating lahat na mahalin ang sariling atin. And malalaman niyo yan mamaya sa PowerPoint presentation na inihanda niya para sa ating lahat. So, ito muna yung unang tanong ko kay Sir Nesler. Sir Nesler, meron pa bang chance para makapag-travel ang mga Pinoy kahit kakaunti lang na araw or oras sa mga places na dito sa buong Pilipinas? May pag-asa pa ba? Hanggang saan ba kami pwede makapunta?
Well, actually, every one of us is hoping no, na magkaroon na agad or sa mas lalong mabilis na panahon. Kasi when we're looking at the statistics, medyo mas dumadami na rin yung tingnan natin no, na masyadong na-highlight lang si COVID-19 no, sa panahon ngayon. Parang na-hype siya. But at the end of the day, when we look at the statistics, there are a lot of diseases na mas kailangan pa rin pagbigyan ng pansin. For example, hindi naman natin nakikita ilan na ba yung may tuberculosis, yung may HIV, yung may AIDS.
Yes.
And yung may mental, nagkakaroon na ng problema no, mentally because of the lockdown. It really has a great effect sa mga tao, lalo na sa ating mga Pilipino. Kasi karamihan ng mga Pilipino is outgoing. We want to go out. We want to experience activity. So, there is a big possibility, hopefully, no, the national government can see a solution to this problem. Not just the community quarantine. Kasi every time we do the community quarantine, whatever it is, kung enhanced or general or MGCQ or whatever, nandun pa rin yung yung paglimit sa paglabas ng tao. And we've been doing this for 5 months. At for me, hindi na ito yung paraan para i-control natin yung virus. What we have to do now is to be ready with the new normal. And new normal is all about us allowed to go out, observing the minimal public health standards and protecting ourselves, no? Ang kailangan bigyan ng impormasyon, ng tamang impormasyon ng mga tao. Ano ba itong COVID at paano natin maliligtas yung sarili natin dito? That's the only thing we can do now because economy is dying.
Okay. Para kamustahin natin ang tourism industry at nakita nyo naman sa simpleng tanong ko, madami na tayong natutunan kay Sir Nesler. Without further ado, I would love to share the screen to you to Sir Nesler as he is about to share to us some important information regarding tourism industry in the whole Philippines. Sir Nesler?
Yes? Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. We'll be talking about tourism status amidst COVID-19. Actually, the first topic would be tourism status in the Philippines. Well, I requested na gawin siyang tourism status because I want to focus on our municipality, not because I'm from Atimonan, no? But, on a national setup, local government units, seldom silang nabibigyan ng chance na mapakinggan what is really happening on the grassroots. And that's the reason why I would like to thank MPE and Carousel Production for giving this platform for a person like me, no, from the LGU, kasi people tend to look at the things on a national scale. Now, let's give chance to these LGUs. Ano ba yung nangyayari sa grassroots? Ano ba yung nangyayari dun sa pinaka-basic na form of government natin? So, yes. Ano siya? I'm sorry. Okay, so what's the matter? I'll be talking about briefly what is tourism. There are lots of scientific definition, but I'll share with you the very practical definition of tourism. And then the other one is the tourism status in the Philippines amidst COVID-19. So I've found some data on the status of tourism, which is very sad. Nakakalungkot what's happening in the tourism industry of the Philippines. Now, I would like to share to you the tourism in Atimonan before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and what will be the new normal of tourism in our municipality. Plus, every time I do talks, I have this ang akin lang naman. These are my personal points, no? Yung takeaway points ko from the presentation. So let's start. Okay, I've already shared this to Shane, but the most practical way to define tourism is that tourism is all about creating memorable experiences. Because we travel because we want to create a memory, no? And so thus, all tourism establishments, all tourism destinations should offer the tourists for us to create a memorable experience. Them with the persons they love to be with and with the place they want to be doing an experience. So that's the most practical way. There are so many scientific academic definition of tourism, but the most practical way is that tourism is all about creating memories. Because when you have your memory and you go back to your hometown or your house, you share those memories with your colleagues, with your family, with your parents, with your friends, no? And that tourism, no? The main purpose of tourism is the exchange of culture and the experiences. So really, tourism is all about creating experiences. So what about the tourism industry in the Philippines, COVID-19? I've updated the slides because yesterday I only found data up until April. No, now it's available na hanggang July. Did you know that the tourist arrival in the country from January to July 2020 decreased by 73%? It's a big number. 73% ang decrease ng tourist arrival natin sa Philippines. Could you imagine that from 2019, same month, 4,852,107 tourist arrivals ang meron ang Pilipinas noong 2019 from January to July. Now we only have 1.3 million in 2020 because if you could still remember, mid of March, enhanced community quarantine was declared and then travel restrictions ay pinatupad. So that's the reason why. And another thing, sorry, the revenue from tourism decreased by 72%. We only got 81 billion para sa first 7 months this year, causing the closure of some business establishments. There are some primary tourism enterprises na nag-shut down because of losses during the pandemic. And based on DOLE, millions of tourism workers lost their jobs in the entire Philippines, including flight attendants and others. Could you imagine that 10 million Filipinos lost their job during the pandemic and 1 million of them belongs to the tourism workers? So that's the scenario of tourism in the Philippines now. Okay, now I'm going to share with you, those are some of the basic data, but at the end of the day, just with the number of the tourist arrival and the revenue, you can see that really there is a big problem. No? How do we cope up? How will the tourism industry in the Philippines be back on its peak? No? Kakabawi pa lang ulit natin in 2019, tsaka nag-increase pa lang tayo ulit ng arrivals natin. Then came 2020, mas prepared ang Pilipinas to cater to tourists, however, this pandemic came. So now, I would like to share to you what are we doing here in Atimonan, which I think should be done not only in Atimonan, but in the entire country and in other places. Okay, this is the tourist arrival of Atimonan from 2016 to 2019. 2016, we only have 38,080. 2017, a total of 104,332. 2018, we had 187,189. And in 2019, 136,653. You might be asking what happened. There's a decrease from 2018 to 2019. It's because during that time, the 2019, heavy traffic sa SLEX. And that's the reason why people from the metro opted to go up north. So I'm sure Roxy can tell us that mas tumaas ang tourist arrival ng Baguio, ng northern part ng Luzon because iniwasan ng tao yung traffic sa 2019. It's true. It's based on studies. And a friend
Yes.
of mine, no, the tourism officer of San Juan, Batangas, shared that experience. San Juan, Batangas is a place where these white sand beaches can be found, and napakalaki rin ang binaba ng tourist arrival nila during 2019. So there are so many aspects that affect, no, the tourist arrival of a certain municipality. So that's our status, no. Ito yung data namin. We have 136,000 plus tourists last year. So what happened? It's because of, okay, before the pandemic, we have Tagultol Fishing Festival, we have our founding anniversary, we have the Paskong Atimunanin. We do celebrations and events every quarter. And then we executed the 3-year framework plan made by the University of the Philippines Asian Institute of Tourism, wherein Atimonan envisions to provide a nature-based adventure tourism. So we started training for tourism stakeholders. We're done with our cultural mapping. We started developing the tourism destination. We are preparing for the 2020 because our plan is to increase the tourist arrival come 2020. So imagine that all efforts are put into it. We are very much ready to accept visitors, no? Especially in March, April, May. That's the peak, no? Ito yung pinakamarami naming tourists. Talagang triple or double the number on a regular month. Excuse me. So what happened? In 2020, here's the profile. From January and Feb, na-realize namin yung goal to increase it na 15%. So from 9,000 last year, we had 10,000, more than 10,000 this year. And on February, from 10,000, nagkaroon kami ng 12,000 plus. So hopeful kami to cope up because we increased 15% in January and Feb. Then come this pandemic, we lost 72% of our tourist arrival based on 2019. And up until now, there's no arrival, okay? Because we are from Quezon province and Quezon is part of the general community quarantine. What we can only do now is to local tourists or our kababayan going to a certain tourist destination, which it's not accounted kasi wala silang receipts. So, could you imagine that in the first 7 months, we lost 69% of the tourist arrival? Nawala ng saysa yung 15% increase in the first 2 months. And that's the reality. Now, during the pandemic, what did we do? One, we celebrated the Aitagultol, which I would like to thank you guys, personally, our queens. Thank you for being with us on this celebration, on this virtual celebration. You are part of our history because it's the first ever interactive virtual festival done in the entire Quezon province. And I would like to thank you personally from our municipal mayor, Engineer Rustico Venue Mendoza. And what are we doing now? We started data gathering for the different plans, especially the Atimonan Tourism Recovery Plan. That's the most important plan that each LGU, province, and the national government should do. We have to be resilient. We have to plan how do we cope up, how do we recover, because we lost millions of pesos. And during the pandemic, even the time that Shane was still here, she can say we recalibrated, we revisited all the guidelines and policies about tourism, focusing on sustainable development. It's not about economic advancement, but the sustainable development, meaning concern for nature, concern for the stakeholders, and how do we make this setup last even to the next generation and improve it even more. And of course, during the pandemic, we participated, the first time that we participated, the Miss Philippines Earth, and we've got a crown. Shane is with us, our Miss Philippines Earth Fire. Those are part of the things that we did during pandemic. And initially, I would like to invite you guys, time will come, if okay na, we'll be launching a COVID museum. A COVID museum is a display of what our municipality did during the entire pandemic. So, dito lang namin unang in-announce sa MPE yan. It was just approved, I think, 2 days ago. yung budget that will be having a COVID museum in Atimo. I think that's the first ever COVID museum in the Philippines. Okay, so what are we looking forward? Anong meron sa bagong normal? We all know that new normal is coming. We cannot go away with it. We cannot go back to normal. Better say, we will be having the new normal. One, we should come up with this tourism recovery plan. Really, all tourism officers, be it from LGU, from province, or from the DOT, please come up with a tourism recovery plan. In Atimonan, we call it ahon na, turismong Atimonanin. It means ahon, no? Umangat sa pagkakalublob, ahon. And then, we created the guidelines and protocols in line with the new normal as per the national government and the DTI, the DOT. Pero we created our own, no? Kasi, inano namin siya, finite namin siya dun sa needs ng mga establishment namin dito. And then hopefully by next year, we could come up with a Timonan Tourism Code, the environmental fee collection, or other policies about tourism. Then, hopefully by next year too, with the help of UPAIT, we can come up with a tourism development plan, a 10-year intensive development plan geared towards Atimonan being the prime nature-based adventure tourism in the southern part of Luzon. And just now, no, we are in contact with 3 other municipalities in Quezon Province to come up with the tourism circuits. These are part of the recovery plan. Tourism Circuit is creating a tour package with the different municipalities. With Dolores for the faith tourism. Dolores Quezon is known for the faith tourism. Sariaya for heritage and culture. Tayabas for food or culinary. And then Atimonan for the nature-based adventure tourism. And we should shift, no? All tourism officers should shift their marketing and promotional strategies. Go online and promote local brand food and destination. Because international traveling might be banned for in the next 1 year, no? Because mamaya dun sa takeaway points ko makikita natin kung ano yung meron eh. So kailangan we use this one to prepare yourself, to prepare the stakeholders, to prepare the establishment. Since kokonti pa yung taong bibisita, gamitin natin ito para ma-prepare natin ang lahat. Pangalawa, gamitin natin ito na hindi pwedeng lumayo sa bayan natin ang ating mga kababayan. Tell them to support local tourism. May mentality ang mga Pilipino kapag turista, dapat lumalabas ng bayan. No. Local tourism ay isa sa mga bumubuhay sa atin, sa turismo ng Pilipinas. So itong mga kababayan natin, let them experience what our own municipality has to offer. That should be the campaign now. Para lang magkaroon ng steerer, may stimulus yung tourism para gumalaw, umikot pa rin ang pera kahit papano. Kahit local tourism lang yan. Okay, so ang akin lang naman, these are my takeaway point. 1, this pandemic should be a restart button for the tourism industry for a more sustainable development. Let's plan. Let's revisit, let's recalibrate, no? I-ready natin yung policies, i-ready natin yung plano. Kasi ito yung time na nakatigil ang lahat, ito yung time na dapat nagtatrabaho tayo, inihahanda natin para sa kanila. Okay? And even for ourselves, we revisit ourselves, ano ba yung nagawa nating mali? For us to become a better person. Next. Okay, ito yung pinaka-importante. Tourism can only fully recover if the fear of the people towards COVID-19 will be gone. Okay? So kung habang may takot ang mga tao sa virus, takot silang lumabas. So the campaign now should be, wag matakot, but be cautious. Don't be afraid, but be cautious. Kasi hindi na natin kailangang takutin eh. No? Reality is there. Increasing number of cases. But, you know, as long as these people knows how to protect themselves, how to follow the minimum health measures or the protocols, then more or less, maiiwasan pa rin natin yung virus. This is not about a lockdown, no, or lockdown or bawal lumabas kasi the economy is suffering, no? So yes, we believe health should be the priority. But in this point in time that we've been doing community quarantines for the past 5 months, what do you expect people to eat if they don't have food on the table? The government just gave certain amount, but how long will it last? Let the people work. As per our municipal mayor, that's what we believe in. Let the people work, let the people do their job as long as they are protected. And stop yung fear sa virus. Hence, convert that fear to being cautious. Okay? For the Philippines, yun, that's what I'm telling. Different kinds of community quarantines at the moment after almost 5 months is not the solution. Pinapahaba lang natin yung paghihirap. Our economy is being up, and so thus the tourism industry. Let's educate the people and prepare them for the new normal. By the way, all this would lead to continuing our life with our face mask and face shield on. Diba? So we just teach them how to prevent yung pagpasok ng virus sa sarili nila, but do not impose fear on them because economy will die. And para sa mga malalayo ang pangarap na makapag-international travel, not unless all nations agreed to a certain health protocol and guidelines about tourism, mahihirapang mag-regain ang international tourism. Dapat itong mga bansang ito nag-uusap-usap na what will be our standard, what will be the minimum public health standard on all airports, on all flights. So not unless we have this, for sure, international travel will still be restricted. So that's it. I would like to thank you. That's my presentation for this afternoon. I hope may na-share ako kahit papaano with my limited experience and resources with tourism.
Thank you so much, Sir Nestler, di ba? Si Nestler talaga, honestly, ang naging mentor ko when it comes to understanding how things work in tourism industry. Because I thought me being a tourism management graduate is enough for me to stay and to push forward with, advocating for sustainable ecotourism. Pero ang dami ko dapat matutunan, and I'm really, really admiring this person. Believe me, sobrang sipag niya. During the pandemic, there are, just to share to you guys, na lang din, this opportunity to share to you na, believe ako kay Nestler because he is not just about the income. Kung paano kikitang atimonan. Kasi ang dami talagang unexplored places. Actually, nung umiikot kami doon, pero yung umiikot kami, protected kami doon, baka ma-issue kami. Nung umiikot kami doon, I asked him, kasi meron isa siyang employee na siya na, Miss Shane, ang ganda dyan sa falls na yan, ganyan. So sabi ko, sabi ko, Kaz, maganda pala, bakit hindi mo ino-open sa public? You know what? He said to me, hindi pa yan handa para sa public. Ayokong masira yung place. So nabilib ako sa kanya dun sa part na yun. Kasi kung ikaw, tourism officer ka, ang gusto mo, makilala yung lugar mo, i-open mo yung mga places na yun para mabisita at makilala ang Atimonan all over the Philippines. But on his part, he would wanted these places to be prepared sa public, and as well as the public be ready to their responsibility doon sa place na yon, sa tourist destination na yon. Doon ako nabilib sa kanya. Kasi hinanda, sabi niya, the programs for that place is not yet ready, so therefore I won't open that yet to the public. So doon ko mas naintindihan kung bakit kailangan talaga na before you advocate or before you talk about a certain thing, you have to understand first the things na nagko-cover doon sa industry na yun or sa sector na yun. And I'm telling you, malawak masyado ang tourism industry and tourism sector. And kudos to Nestler because sabi niya nga, baguhan pa daw siya sa tourism industry, being tourism officer for 4 years pa lang Atimonan, but he bring a lot sa table. So we've learned a lot from his talk. Sabi nga, I agree to what he said. We have to use this 0 hour to discuss plans, comprehensive, sustainable, and digital plans kung paano makaka-move forward dahil bagsak talaga ang tourism industry. only in the Philippines, we have around 5 million workers covered under tourism industry, and there are 5 million people affected by the pandemic. So I'm really thankful for his talk because he opened ideas, hopefully sa mga viewers natin and to everyone who is part of the tourism industry kung paano natin ma-calibrate nga naman, kung paano tayo makakapag-develop ng mga panibagong strategies and ideas para ma-survive at paano tayo makaka-move forward as all of us would still wanted to travel despite of the travel restrictions. So I would love to ask my fellow Eco Queen sisters of their questions. If any, you have any ideas you would wanted to share or ask to Nestler. I would start with our goddess of water, Gianna. Do you have any questions to Sir Nestler?
Yes, before anything, maraming salamat sa talk nyo, Sir Nestler. I mean, I say I love to travel. I love being a tourist, but I don't think I even had, as Ate Shani said, could comprehend what the tourism industry is going through right now. So maraming salamat rin for presenting the numbers. I think those are eye-openers. And one note that you pointed out sa presentation nyo that stuck to me is that millions of people nga ay nawalan ng trabaho in the tourism sector. I think that has created a huge impact on me because as a traveler, you interact with these people, you pass by them, and not being able to travel right now, you don't even think about what they must be going through or suffering. So yung question ko po is actually, anong parte po ng tourism sector para sa inyo ang pinaka-apektado economically dahil sa pandemya? At ano naman po ang magagawa namin, the public, para makatulong?
Okay, thank you for yung question, no. I think, no, on a personal note, the most affected, no, linya ng tourism would be the hospitality, the hotel, and the airlines. Why? One, their business entails, no, a big amount of capital. And for them to run their business, napakalaki ng kailangan nilang pera, napakarami ng taong kailangan nila. Hotels and airlines. Sila talaga yung nakikita kong pinakamalaki yung lugi. Kasi the more capital na inilabas mo sa business mo, the more possibilities ng losses. Okay? So sila talaga yung pinaka-greatly affected. Well, people don't see that because they thought owners of hotels and airlines are multi-billionaires or millionaires, no? And what can we do, no? I think if the cases would go down, so somehow, may light, no? May hope that travel and tourism will be back. So how to do it, no? On a personal note, you make yourself safe every time. You wear your mask, you wear your face shields now. It's a requirement, but you know what? In Atimonan, even before the national government did the face shield requirement, we're doing that. We gave away 20,000 face shields in Atimonan even before the national government. Shinare ko lang kasi yung mayor namin talaga visionary.
Sama ako doon sa namigay.
So what can we do is to protect ourselves lagi and be responsible with what we are doing. Now, pwede nang uminom, di ba? Imagine in Quezon Province, lots of yung pagtaas ng kaso galing sa social activities, birthday, binyagan, nag-inuman. So I think yun indirectly it affects kung ano yung future ng lahat ng industriya, ng ekonomiya ng bansa. It affects the number of cases. So we have to protect ourselves. Huwag na tayong dumagdag doon. So as long as we are protecting ourselves, we are really helping all these industries. Yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you for answering that, Sir Nestler. I think, yun nga, marami rin akong mga kaibigan na FA na nawalan nga ng trabaho because of the pandemic, nabawasan sila because there are less flights na. And then yung best friend ko naman po from college owns a hotel, a small hotel, and wala rin silang customers. So I completely understand that. Ang hirap talaga. And as much as we want to contribute and to help them, what we can do are the basics like wearing a face mask and face shield, and how enlightening it is is to hear na ang Atimonan pala required face shields na before the rest of the Philippines. Talagang good example ang Atimonan. And I love Quezon Province in general kasi naka-celebrate na rin ako ng a couple festivals there before. Sobrang saya nyo mag-party and very hospitable ang mga taga Quezon. So my next question, for those like me who love to travel, I know this might be a tough question. I'm just interested in your answer. At the rate of the pandemic, ano naman po ang estimated time para sa inyo kung kailan kami makaka-travel ulit, at least within the Philippines?
Okay. Okay, that question is so mind-boggling. Okay. No one can tell when. No one can tell when. Even when this pandemic is starting, no one can tell when this will end. We cannot say that after there's a vaccine, this will end. We cannot say that because there are so many aspects, no, that we have to consider to say that it's already the normal. No? We're back to normal. But I think the national government, no, aside from the new normal guidelines, should create a resiliency plan. That's what I'm always saying, no? For us to determine this, kung kailan ba tayo pwedeng lumabas or whatever, we need to have a resiliency plan, no? Without it, this will not end. Wala tayong pinupuntahan, wala tayong nakikita. All that we are focused now is to have these different community quarantines in different areas. But where's the plan? How do we recover? How do we cope up? Okay, so that's the problem. Kaya no one can tell when can we travel, di ba? And I think, no, kailangan talaga magkaroon ng plan. Because if you have the plan, and if the people will feel that they are safe, then tsaka tayo lalabas, tsaka tayo makaka-cope up. But honestly, yun nga, no one can tell when. But hopefully, as soon as possible, because we're very much ready to be with you, no, dito sa Atimonan. Invited namin kayong lahat dito.
Yes, and we can't wait to go to Atimonan too.
Yes.
You guys have amazing food there, and thank you for answering my question, Sir Nestler. I agree with you that a resiliency plan is necessary talaga kasi I'm sure kaming mga Queens and just Filipinos in general are hearing about an allotted budget for tourism to boost after the pandemic, but we would also love to know the next steps to take as the public and as travelers as well. So maraming salamat po for answering my questions.
All right, thank you so much, Gianna. And next, we would love to hear the questions or any ideas with our Miss Philippines Ecotourism. Eliza, do you have any questions for Sir Nestler? Ang iyong Tagalog, okay?
I was gonna say, I don't think I can ask these questions in Tagalog. So my question though,
Feel free to.
it is connected to what Gianna mentioned earlier, because what stuck with me as well was the amount of workers that were affected by the pandemic. And so my question was, how is the tourism sector like ensuring that the workers whose livelihoods are dependent on those destination spots are not being affected? Like, are they getting an income? Like, what exactly is happening for them?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for that question, Eliza. I think I have to answer in full English. Okay. Okay. Looking at how the government works for in order for this to address the issue of those who were jobless during the pandemic, they are looking at giving doling out money or cash assistance. No, I've read an article that the Bayanihan Heal as One Act 2, yung second part, was already approved by the Congress, wherein 10 billion peso is allocated as assistance to those workers in the tourism industry who lost their jobs. So can I say that it's one way of assuring that they are earning? No. It's just a cash assistance. You're just giving them an assistance, no? At the end of the day, what's on a longer term? Yung long-term plan mo, where? Saan mo sila isusuksok? Where do you put them right after this? Are there any available job for them? Or can you give them business idea or livelihood for them to cope up, no? The national government is focused on giving away cash assistance, no? And there's a saying, you teach a man to fish, no? You don't give them fish. So hopefully this one would be an eye-opener to the national government na we don't just give cash assistance. You give us plan. You give us where do we go right after this pandemic? Is there any available job in the Philippines after this? Kasi my answer is no, there's no assurance that they are not affected. All of us are affected, but there should be a plan, a resiliency plan for them. Yeah. We're just giving assistance.
Sorry. I actually really liked your answer because I was thinking about how in Australia, we also have like a cash assistance, but we call it JobKeeper here. But then you also mentioned long term. And I never thought about it that way. The fact that that money is going to run out and we should be planning and figuring out how we can provide for these families so that they're not affected long term. And I guess on a more positive note, just so that I don't take up much time so Ate Shane and Ate Roxy can ask questions. My question is for not only you, sir, is also for all my sister queens. I've mentioned that I've never been like out of my hometown when I go to the Philippines. So in terms of like tourism destinations, where would you recommend me to go? Because I really want to experience like the nature and the true culture of the Philippines.
So, ako yung una or sila?
Yeah. Ikaw po.
Ikaw na sir ang mauna, sir.
Okay. Not being biased, but my my personal go-to na tourist destination would be Baguio City.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was studying in Manila, every time I feel bad, I feel stressed, or I feel like I'm giving up, I go to Baguio City. One, because there, you can be one with nature. That's the first thing. And the other one, the culture and the artistry, of the people in Baguio really shows that the rich culture, ng Pilipinas. Ako talaga, every time I go to Baguio City, nakikita ko lagi yung kahit pa ulit-ulit ako nagpupunta sa museum nila, dito sa Tamawan Village, because I have a friend working for Tamawan Village. Grabe yung artistry ng mga taga Baguio. And yun yung una. And then pangalawa, definitely go to Atimonan, Quezon. You'll have the best team, di ba? Kagaya nung kay Shane. Kami naman, we will be with you in your entire journey in Atimonan. We love to entertain tourists, like especially you came from the other country. You'll see how the Filipinos live, na makikita mo talaga on a grassroots, kasi there are so many tourist destination na overrated or kilalang-kilala na. And what's one thing na pwedeng maging mali, or one thing na hindi ganun kaganda, the culture in the area might be mixed with a different culture from the tourist. Yun yung isa ko pang sinasabi, kaya dapat yung tourism is responsible. Minsan, the culture of those tourists coming into a certain place affects the culture, the culture within the municipality. People tend to be influenced by the culture of the tourists. In Atimonan, since we are not yet that known, you can see the real culture of us Atimonanins. How do we do fishing? How do we entertain visitors? So that's it. Thank you.
I listed it down on my phone, and I'm just looking at the time, so maybe I'll just take that advice for Baguio City. So for its nature and for its arts, I also like that you mentioned to like do local and like hashtag love local, buy local. So
yeah, our hashtag. Okay, so Eliza, you're done. Are you done already? Yeah. Do you have any more questions to Sir Nestor? If I'm going to talk about the place that you could visit in the country, aside from Baguio, from Atimonan, we could go to Siargao, since Gianna and Roxy would love to go there. At least apat. And if Pat would love to come, di ba? At least, di ba tayo, we could visit Siargao all in one. So thank you so much, Eliza, for that question. So shout out muna siguro ako because there are just two people who've actually put their concerns or just greeting us. To Sir Nesler, hi Rao from Jamie Ditomal. He's watching from Japan, and of course from Baguio City. I don't know if he's related to Roxy, Jolie Bayens. They're
It's my
watching from
mom.
Baguio City, and oh, your mom! Hi, mommy Jolie. Mommy Earth. Sabi niya, our city is a tourist destination, so we are badly affected by this pandemic. So hopefully, mommy, you've learned some things, and our talk will give you light and hope na makakayanan to ng tourism industry. Maybe not tomorrow or sooner or later, as much as we can, we are doing this kind of activities para ma-inform ang lahat ng ating viewers. Kasi punong-puno na tayo ng stress. So we would love to disseminate good information through this talk and the speakers we are inviting. So next up, we would love to hear you, Roxy. Do you have any questions to our dearest tourism officer, Sir Nesler?
Yes. Hi, Sir Nesler.
Hello.
I'm happy to finally meet you. And same as you po and Ate Shane, I am actually a graduate of tourism. So it's really hard witnessing how my friends are slowly losing their jobs, and some of them are actually breadwinners in their family. So what do you think po is a good alternative? Is a good alternative that they can still pursue as a career path amidst this pandemic that could still bring out their abilities po?
Okay. One, no, okay. We all know that tourism majors or those who graduated tourism are one, they know how to come up with a tour package because that's one of the subjects. Okay. Event management, you do that, no? Um, and then you have the marketing skills also. So being practical, no, for you to cope up, no, while using the abilities that you have, one, we can all be local tour operators. We have to go local. As, di ba, as what I've mentioned earlier, we have to go local. Alam niyo ba na local tourism sa bansang Pilipinas ay 10.8% ng GDP natin every year. Meaning, 548.8 billion peso ang umiikot na pera sa local tourism. So, this is a possibility or an opportunity for us, no, to come up with our own local tour operation agency, no? Yung mag-create kayo ng tour packages on your own municipality, and then you market it, benta ninyo, you're helping the community, you're helping the tourism industry, at the end of the day, you're earning. Okay, yun yung pinakamaganda, iikot, magkakaroon ng economic steerer. Another thing, events management. Ngayon, pinapayagan ng events, no? The new normal way. So you just update a bit of what you know from your college class, no? Para ma-update lang because of the new normal. Pero you could come up, it's one, isang magandang business opportunity ang event management. Ako, I
Yes,
do this
wow.
every time hindi ako busy sa office. I do racket, no? Maraket tayo niyan. Birthday, weddings. And you get paid for that, no? So, at least I'm sure passionate pa rin kayo sa event management, no? Kasi pag tourism, ganon. And traveling, di ba kaya yan? And everyone, no, we can be online sellers. I know virtual is the world we will be in the new normal. So everything about virtual is a great opportunity for us to earn money. So yun yung mga pwede natin for now na magawa.
Wow, thank you so much. Na-miss ko tuloy yung tourism industry kasi prior to pursuing what I'm pursuing now, nagtrabaho ako po sa hotel here in Baguio City. Nag-front desk ako, guest relations ako, tapos nag-work din ako, summer job sa Balistin Island. I think that's in Quezon also. Is it? Yes,
Yeah,
I think it's in Quezon also. So,
you work
same po as my queen sister, sana makavisit ako on another part of Quezon, specifically Atimonan. And sobrang gusto ko po yung sinabi niyo about online selling kasi it's true. Sobrang go-to job na yun ng mga tao na nawalan ng trabaho ngayon. And that's what we could do siguro as the general public. Let's support our friends, support natin yung mga nawalan ng trabaho kung pwede natin, even with the little that we have kasi affected din tayo. Sana mabili natin yun nga, buy local, support local. And for my second question po, is there still time? Okay, bilisan ko na lang. A lot of places in the Philippines are heavily relying on tourism for economy. In what way can we still promote tourism and still be able to give livelihood to the people affected?
Okay. Every time we talk about tourism, people tend to look on it as having foreigners coming over to our country. Now it's not the way we should go. We should go local. Again, we go local because of the travel restriction. What way can we still promote tourism and still be able? Alam nyo ba, according to Tourism Unit Undersecretary Bengzon, yun nga, 10.8 ng GDP natin coming from local tourism. So mag-take tayo ng advantage dito, no? I-promote natin itong mga sarili nating destination. For example, me here in Atimonan, I go and visit different tourist destination, lalo na ecotourism sites namin every time. Lalo na ngayong pandemic because I want to check whether they are following the guidelines of the new normal. And I talk to the people na, oh, this is my first time. This is the only time that I went here. It's good pala dito. Mas maganda pa to dun sa falls na pinuntahan ko, blah, blah, blah. So imagine, these people are coming from Atimonan wherein first time nilang makapunta dito. Pero nakapunta sila sa ibang lugar. So now we use this one, no, this pandemic, no, para, okay, all my fellow Atimonanis, let's experience Atimonan. You tell us what you can say, what you can suggest, because we prepare for the future. Okay, so you use this one as an evaluation tool then, since ito naman mga kababayan natin, gamitin natin. So ganun din naman siya eh. May gumagastos pa rin sila. They pay for the trekker guide, they pay for their food, for the entrance fees. So at the end of the day, now is not the time for us to prospect foreigners. Now is the time for us to shift our market to our local community. There is, no, a big market sa ating mga kababayan. Huwag nating alisin yung katotohanan na mas malaki pa rin ang kinikita ng turismo ng bansang Pilipinas mula sa mga Pilipino. Yun. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sir Nestor. I really like what you said. And grabe nga yung dislocation sa tourism industry. And as my mom commented earlier, Baguio is, other than it being the city of pines, it is also the summer capital of the Philippines. It relies heavily on tourism. So sobrang affected kami. So sana patuloy po tayo magdasal, hindi lang para sa industriya ng turismo, kundi para sa lahat ng aspeto na wait na sa tagal. I'm trying din. Sa lahat ng aspeto ng ekonomiya na lubos na natamaan ngayong pandemya. Thank you po.
Thank you.
All right. Our Queen of Earth is finished with her question. So, I think para hindi na natin mag-consume to save enough time, hindi na ako magtatanong. Instead, I will get a question from our netizens. So I would love to give you, to relay you this question coming from Sir Noy, one of our favorite pageant bloggers from this Earth Crown. Hi, Sir Noy. Good afternoon. So he said, Sir Nesler, medyo nauuso na in other countries like in Korea yung virtual museum tours. I am from Manila, and kahit isang tumbling na lang ang national museums from where I live, natigil na ang monthly museum trips ko. Are virtual museum tours a good idea for Philippines, at least for now? So that's his question, Sir Nesler.
Thank you, Sir Noy, for that question. Alam mo, Sir, kagaya ng sinasabi ko kanina, everything about virtual, about online, is very applicable at the moment. And I hope, no, that the national government can see this, no? Let's go online. Okay to, yung monthly museum, yung virtual museum is of great help. One, to share knowledge, no? Two, to steer the activities of tourism. And three, no, mawala yung bagot ng tao because there are really people like you who wants to go to museum every now and then. They want to update what they know. They want to know what's inside, what's the story behind this one, and blah, blah, blah. So virtual museum is a great idea. And you gave me an idea, sir. We might be doing that in Atimonan. Thank you.
We did, di ba? A virtual tour.
Yeah,
Like,
we
I'm
did
the
a
one who...
virtual tour, yeah. It's a
Yes.
competition ng Quezon Province in celebration of the New Gyugan Festival. It's a virtual tour. So you promote the tourist destination in your municipalities and you are the tour guide.
Yes. Ako yung naging virtual tour guide. So I was the voice, ako yung nag-voice over. Diyos ko, naging voice over na din ako. Di ba nauuso ngayon yung si Inka, Gianna knows her, but yung mga voice over ngayon, nalikikilala na natin yung mga bosses behind, yung mga commercials, yung sapa, yung, ayoko na mag-mention out ng mga iba pang brands, baka magbayad ako. But I'm really happy about the question of Sir Noy, kasi totoo yan, and I'm really happy also about Sir Nestler highlighting that ito yung mga panahon na kailangan natin mahalin ang sariling atin. And just like what Department of Tourism Secretary Romulo Puyat said, that the domestic tourism will lead the recovery of our country. At naniniwala ko doon because this time, lalo na mga Pilipino, bagot na tayo sa loob ng bahay natin. So ang immediate nating maiisip, mag-travel tayo sa isang lugar na basta iba lang ang itsura. So let's say sa mga nasa Metro Manila, the immediate gateway for them is Batangas, Quezon, other places kung gusto mo lumayo or kung pwede nang lumayo-layo ng onte, makarating ka ng Baguio City. Or some of the people in Visayas, Cebu, exchange lang yan eh. The most important thing is that meron na tayong movement na ginagawa. But of course, we don't have to forget that we have to be cautious with every actions we're about to do. And sabi nga ni Nestler, takot na yung mga tao. So wag na tayo mag-create pa ng fear. What we have to do right now is to offer them a safe product wherein may enjoy nila yung iba't ibang lugar dito sa Pilipinas. At meron tayong na-generate na income, may mga taong nabibigyan ng trabaho, nag-enjoy pa tayo. At siyempre, ito yung mga panahon na kailangan nating humanap ng mga pamamaraan kung paano tayo magiging productive. And feeling ko ang mga Pilipino talaga, kahit ako, maiba lang yung lugar ko, happy na ako.
Yes.
Feeling ko nag-get away, feeling ko vacation mode na agad ako because you're always at the four corners of your home. So, makakita ka lang ng puno, masaya ka na feeling mo, ang layo na narating ko. So, we have to support this just like what also Japan and Korea and Thailand are doing right now. Alam ko sa Japan, they are creating coupons wherein para ma-promote ang domestic tourism sa kanila. So, ang pinopromote nila wherein they're giving people coupons and discounts doon sa mga hotels na available each provinces. So, I hope that through the ideas and ginagawa ng mga karatig bansa natin, sana ma-inspire pa tayo at ma-encourage ang ating mga, ang nasa tourism sector to create one also. Sabi mo nga, Sir Nasser, kanina, dun sa answer mo kay Roxy, i-maximize natin yung mga skills natin, yung mga talents natin. Since apektado na talaga tayo ngayon, at syempre, dahil nga humahanap tayo ng pamamaraan para mag-survive, dumikit tayo sa talent and skills and resources na meron ng Pilipinas kasi sobrang yaman ng bansa natin. Believe me, wag muna tayong lumabas. Siguro, mahalin muna natin yung nandito sa bansa natin kasi nga sabi ko nga, hashtag love local, buy local. Or sabi nga ni Roxy, love local, support local. So I think, ato naman ang aking personal, sabi ko nga, ang akin lamang, gagayahin ko Sir Nestler. We are already in fear, bagot na tayo, stressed out na tayo. I think this topic and the talks that we had in the past few weeks hopefully give light and encouragement to everybody. Na as much as we talk, we are giving and spreading good information. Tama na tayo sa fake news, tama na tayo sa fear. Sana itong mga natutunan natin today, spread po natin to dahil ito po yung makakatulong para sa ating mga kababayan. And I believe that the things that we've talked right now, maraming tao ang mai-inspire to do things and to create more, to put a lot of places on their bucket list. Kasi kahit kami po na alam ko naman na kaya natin with talking to our friends, uy, dali mo naman ako dito, pero we'd rather stay at home than at this moment of time dahil nga restricted pa tayo. Alam kong excited na tayo mag-travel. Sana gamitin natin tong opportunity na to na mas maging responsable at mas mag-isip ng mga panibagong approach. kay Mother Nature kasi alam ko excited na natin makita ulit si Mother Nature. I hope that we will become more responsible travelers. Sabi nga dun sa isang vlog na napanood ko, let's take this 0 hour to create a comprehensive, sustainable approach towards these tourist destinations. Respect these tourist destinations because this is also a home to someone else, to a certain community. So maraming salamat to our viewers. Thank you so much, Sir Nestler, for giving us so much learnings, for allowing us to understand further the tourism sector, the tourism industry, and for giving us tips on how we could be of help sa industriya dahil maraming tao nga ang apektado sa mga panahon ngayon. At dahil nga ito ay nag-inspire sa amin para mas mahalin ang ating bansa dahil marami naman po talaga tayong malilibot pa na lugar at mabibisita dito sa bansa natin. I would love to hear to Eliza some notes, and would you like to invite them to like our page?
Please stay updated and watch out for all of our Miss Earth 2020 events. And by doing so, please like and follow our official social media accounts of Miss Earth.
Yes, and of course, we would love to share to you how we fulfill our duties as your reigning Miss Philippines Earth Queens, and of course, for you to be updated also for the upcoming events of Miss Earth. Please subscribe on our YouTube channel. That's Miss Earth. Follow us on our Facebook page. That's Miss Earth, and of course, follow us sa aming Instagram and Twitter account. That's at Miss Earth.
Yes, and there's going to be a one-day getting to know you event of Miss Earth 2020 delegates, which will happen on the 21st of September. So malapit na rin ang competition ng queen natin, Roxy Bayan. So let's support her. For Miss Earth, starting September 22, there will be daily pre-pageant events, and the delegates will be showcasing their talents and elegant costumes. So stay tuned for that.
Roxy?
Ako, sorry. Yes, thank you sa support, Queen Sisters. And to know more about the time and delegates assigned, please visit the official Facebook page of Miss Earth. Thank you very much, and please join us again next time on our next Talk About What Matters. That is on August 31. See you guys.
All right, thank you so much to my fellow Eco Queens, Eliza, Gianna, Roxy, and of course to our guest speaker, Sir Nestler. Maraming salamat din po sa lahat ng ating netizens na nanonood sa aming What Matters. And once again, guys, please support local, buy local, mahalin natin ang sariling atin. Maraming salamat at ingat po tayong lahat. Bye!